Sorry, another medium. Boom. I'm gonna open up the 2 links I have here for Taylor. They might autoplay. They autoplay. No and no. Excellent. Okay. So the first thing I want to say is that I thought you were someone else. I'm talking to you, Taylor. I thought you were someone else, man. Because because you're in LA, it says here. You're in LA. Got it. We have this guy. We're loosely acquainted with this guy. With I think his name's Matt Gianet. Is that right? And here it is. I thought you were this. And I don't think you are. I'm pretty certain you aren't. Unless you're partnered to something, but I thought this was you. I almost showed this page on the channel right now because I'd heard of Earworm Sound. They're in Victoria, I think. I mean, we're in Vancouver, so they're just across the water. And yeah, so Earworm Audio. Yeah, I went to earwormaud.io and ended up at this SoundCloud page, I think. Right, Matt? Do you know about these guys? I think his name's Matt. I think. It's like Gionet. Gianet? I think it's Gianet. Yeah, so like they do film and game stuff as well. But that's maybe a problem right away. I don't... It's not really part of Real Talk, but I figure it's probably worth bringing up because given that I'm not an employer at all as far as looking to hire Earworm Audio... Earworm Sound, I don't know if either of you have like a trademarked your name or anything. I have no idea. I mean, of course, it's also stateside and Canada side, so I'm not sure if it even matters. But yeah, here you go, Matthew Gina. I was right. Boom. So figured I'd at least let you know if you weren't aware of that in the first place. And I'm not sure how established you are so far, but given that I'm pretty sure if I click that link, it's going to go to... Yeah, it's this page. So, given that you don't have a site that is Earworm Audio, and there isn't Earworm Sound, that might be a problem. Yeah, I mean, audio is not like Matt says, audio is not a large industry. So if you want to stand out from this, and Matt's been cranking pretty hard, right? Like Steve Nash, Dave Suzuki, Nature of Things. Oh, Paydirt. I don't know that game. Supernova, right? Heroes. Yeah, Heroes 6, Dawn of War. Like these aren't nonsense titles, you know. This is a strong portfolio. So given that he's pretty established, BC Hydro, what's up? That might be a problem for you. So we'll leave it at that. I'll leave that in your capable hands to decide whether or not that's worth changing. But there you go. So I'm going to jump into this page first, I guess. I mean, we often have a look at something like, and I'll drop into another page really quick here. How about this? I'll look at someone like Alex Barnhart. How about that? So like Alex's page. This is great because we have, like, here's you. It's all we need to know. Here's all you need to see, and that's it. So this is the site. This is a much better kind of encapsulation of what Alex does and what he's all about. Like composition, we have solo compositions and collaborations done. Like it's very easy to see what this is. If it's SoundCloud only, it's a bit challenging because it's chronological, right? But SoundCloud alone is not going to get you jobs straight up. I can say that with 100% certainty. It'll be perhaps a good what's the word? Kind of addendum to your main page. Like, for example, Alex Barnhart, we have his main stuff, his sound design, his about, and his composition. This is good because it shows like, oh, here's some selections that are worth looking at. If I go to his stuff, like there's more things here, but this page, I have no idea what to listen to. He's probably put up all the things he's worked on and stuff that he's just like messing around with for pals or whatever, right? But this page is like, this is what you need to listen to, these things. And I have the collaboration, and I have the solo stuff. So that's way more informative then a SoundCloud link. Like Matt says, only SoundCloud means no context for how anything goes with the picture. And that's a big problem. So if it's going to be only this, then you're leaving a lot in the hands of, or in the ear, in the mind's eye of your listeners to say, what's this going with? And I haven't even heard this yet, right? Like I'm saying all this without even listening yet. So this is definitely an issue. I have a page under construction. Excellent, good, Taylor. You need one, absolutely. If you want to apply for a gig or you know, if you want to go to a convention or go to a meetup in your city or whatever. I mean, Game Sound Con's coming up, right? Are you going? It's in LA. If you go there and you have a card and it says earwormodd.io, here you go, and they go there, this is going to be an instant like, oh, I don't know what to look at. They might click through a few things, but it's not going to be a deep interest enough so that they'd want to hire you on just like that. Like, I gotta snatch this guy up before somebody else hires him. Hey, Kramer, good to see you, man. Let's click though, shall we? So, and also worth noting, because this is the site, the first thing people do is click the top thing, guaranteed. So I did this. If this crystal capture title theme is not your best work, then there's instantly a problem, and I have no idea if it is. So let's go. Oh, hello. Let's get some volume too, shall we? All over. Boom. Hey, Kez. Yeah, like, cool, you know? It's cool, but it's not like, it's not gonna win someone over. It'll be like, oh, it's interesting, but it'll be it's a lot more work for someone to get an idea of who you are. And given that there are so many people looking to get the job you're trying to get, and I say that in general, not like for a given specific job, I mean like any job, there's always many, many people trying to get it. So when this comes up, it's very hard for someone to easily get a grasp of what you've done. And if somebody else gives an easier grasp of what they've done, and it takes less effort to get the idea, then that person's probably going to win out. But that said, excuse me, I don't think you even have a link to your reel anywhere here, do you? Maybe you do. So Matt says, yeah, it's interesting, cool, but that's my impression as well. Interesting, but I don't know where it's meant to go. I mean, if this is for, maybe your impression of what this is appropriate for is completely not what I would do, and therefore that's also very informative, either good or bad. You know, it could be like, oh, cool, that's like a really interesting actually, as far as that kind of juxtaposition of visuals versus audio. But if it's something that is very kind of on the nose, then that's not as interesting too. So it can hurt or it can hurt or help you, but usually hurt you. So this reel, I don't think is anywhere else. I don't see it linked here anywhere. So yes, if you want to have a reel, this is definitely, I mean, I haven't seen it yet, mind you, but having a reel is again an encapsulation of what you've done and what you have to offer. And this doesn't do that at all. This hopefully does that more. We'll have a listen though. Some cool things here too. Okay, here's all the things on it. Great. So let's have a look. It's all cranked up. Yes. Right away. 225. So in terms of presentation, too long. Straight up. It's too long. We always try and push for the minute, that sweet spot of 1 minute, because that's where people will listen through the whole thing and not walk away. Hopefully, that's the idea. What's up, Ali? Good to see you. Look, listen. And yeah, Noxiel, Toby. That's so funny. Okay, let's go, shall we? Let's do it. Boom. I'd be skipping through by this point, probably a while ago actually, but we watched the whole thing. But we try to at least let people know that at this point, I would either stop watching or I would skip through, and I would skip through by now. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Get back here, come on. Oh my god, please. There we go. Okay, so you did all sound and music in the reel. Okay, cool. So, right off the bat, there you go. The fact that you're in the chat right now doing clarifications is a problem. Because you don't ship with your reel. Matt loves saying, you don't ship with your game. Whenever someone at a convention is like, oh, press this to jump, or press this thing, like that's a problem, because you don't get to ship with the game and be on their shoulder and say, oh, by the way, this is how you do things, this is how it works, this is what I was thinking, all these things. It's a problem. So, first off, this says sound design and game audio reel. Having music in there at all in a sound design reel is maybe a bad choice. You could just rename it and be like music and sound design reel, and that'd be better. Because when you say sound design reel, people will go in looking for sound design. If you do music, that's good information to have. It's good to have that kind of aptitude and knowledge of like what it means for something to be in the key of D. That's very helpful, but it's not relevant to somebody necessarily who is looking for a sound designer or looking for sound design for their project. We said the time is an issue. This this doesn't need to be 2.5 minutes long, man. It's definitely in the realm of redundancy. Started out. First off, the opening. I don't know what this is or what it means. The world grew stranger. So this opening is like the same as the end, I guess, right? The same thing. I didn't know what this opening meant. Typically, you want to bookend things. There's no, contact titles embedded in the reel. Okay, you need to make it as easy as possible for someone to know how to get in touch with you. And right now, I've looked at your main page, and I've looked here, just glancing, and I've yet to see your email address. If I searched more, I'm sure I could find it. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, there you go. Boom. But I didn't see it without trying. And if you can make them see it without trying, that's going to be a good choice. So at the front, at the back, be like, boom, Taylor Shechet, contact at. And then here you go. Boom. Same thing. Contact at. Just, it cannot possibly hurt. There's no reason not to do it. This opening bookend is kind of weird for me, but like, okay, it's like kind of stylish and artistic, I guess. I don't know what this means though at all though. It's kind of, it's a bit unconventional, but maybe that's fine. So here we go. We got 7 seconds in, 6 seconds in, 7 seconds. And then this goes until 39 or so? 40? 41? Yeah, so like almost 40 seconds. It's too much. It's not necessary. You can show 10, 12, 15 seconds of this, and we'll get the idea. That's all you need to do. It's a very, very common thing for aspiring sound designers or up-and-coming sound designers or enthusiastic amateurs or students or whatever. Even some seasoned pros do it too. But they'll have this idea like, oh, I'm so proud of this piece. I want to show this piece in its entirety. And it's not important or relevant at all. It's in fact probably a bad choice. What you should do is have this link somewhere else, which I think you probably do. Boom, there it is. So show 12 seconds of it, show 15 seconds of it, tops, and then move on. Because if I say, damn, that was awesome, what the hell was that? Well, it's right here. And I can say, oh, cool, let's check this out. And then we do, and here it is. Right? I can watch the whole thing, and it's super long, and that's fine. So I don't need to have it all in this shot. You can show 15 seconds of this, and I'll get the idea that you're down to do kind of weird stuff, and this is really cool actually. So carrying on from there, we're at like 40 seconds, 42 seconds. We have this little transition, I guess. And that transition, I wasn't sure if it existed for the sake of the reel or if it was in this next piece. And the reason I'm so confused is because you don't have any information on the reel itself as far as what I'm looking at. And having it here is helpful, yes, but this is again making it difficult to know what I'm looking at. So for example, when you said I did all the sound and music in this reel, like that, if you put that here, you don't need to say that. You just say here is the Anamnesia Network or whatever this is, and you say blep, it's like short film or website or whatever, and then say in parentheses or hyphen sound design and music or sound implementation or whatever. Like it doesn't, whatever capacity you helped in, just throw it on there and then move on. Easy enough. So Matt says, good to think of the first reel that people see is the 1 minute sizzle reel. Best of the best and longer clips of everything else in separate videos. So yeah, if they want to see more, they will look for more, but you need to give them a reason to care first. And if you spend 45 seconds or 30 seconds even on one piece, and that piece doesn't fit their project, but for all we know, you have like a little cute kitten game over here somewhere, right? But in this first 45 seconds, I'm like, oh, he makes like weird sound design and like surreal short film work and stuff. Like maybe that's not accurate. Maybe it is accurate. I have no idea. But if you only have that for so long, you definitely risk people walking away because your stuff isn't appropriate for them. And I don't know about Matt, but like I know I've worked on a really wide breadth of stuff. Like I've worked on the cute kitten games, totally, and I worked on Darkest Dungeon. Like it's across the board. I had like my arm ripped off in a game one time. I'd just be screaming and like put a sign on my door saying "Don't call the cops." Like you definitely have a wide breadth you can call upon, so you might as well do it in less time. So we'll carry on here. This Anamnesia Network, I don't really know what it is, but it's cool. It's unsettling. It's rad. But yeah, this transition, maybe you can tell me, Taylor, like, is this transition part of something, or is this like a stylish thing for your reel? That... Curious. So this is like 15 seconds or so, looks like. And then is this now something else? Yeah, so again, another reason to have your titles, because I don't know when these are happening. Deep Space Settlement. So I guess that was this? I'm assuming, because it looks like a game about deep space settling. I don't know. It was part of it, part of the teaching machine, AV. Okay. Yeah, that wasn't clear at all to me, so that's fine. Yeah, you would definitely, or tell Mike Harrison to help you out and throw some titles on here. Just like a little black bar, or like some white text with some drop shadow, whatever. Just something basic. Fade it in, fade it out. Just something to say, here's what this is, because you can't expect people to do a ton of reading and like, watch here, scroll down and read, go back up, watch more, scroll down and read. It's a lot of work for people who you are lucky to have 15 seconds of their time. You know, if you have more than 15 seconds of their time, you're doing good. So to force them to do more work is just ill-advised. So we'll carry on from here. This is now like a minute or so. Yeah, so yeah, Matt says the same thing I was thinking. So there's a transition the first time, but then there isn't. So I was kind of, once I saw this like, this right here. Come on now, please. I kind of expected that thing to be elsewhere. And Matt says, honest truth, I won't read anything till I'm hooked. Neither will anyone else. No one will, like, until you give people a reason to care, they will not read anything. Straight up. There's just no reason to. Because if you're like, hey, here's my life story, but my stuff sucks, they're not going to want to read your life story. Like, it's just, that may seem harsh, but it's the absolute truth. People are busy. Alright, so now here, this is, I hope, something different, I assume. And then here. Oh, also, just in terms of flow, Taylor, we talked about length, but I mean, we have like 40 seconds of the first thing. What was it called again? The teaching machine? We have 40 seconds of that, and then here we have like, so 128 or so until 10 seconds of this. So 40 and 10, it's kind of imbalanced too. And having like the same amount of time given to different projects, it helps a lot with flow, and it'll help people keep people's interest, and you know, avoid as best you can them just closing the window basically. So from here now we are like 140 until the end. So 140 until 2:10 or so, another 30 seconds. So you can like start here, kill that first 8-10 seconds where nothing's happening. This is cool. This sounds great. It's really interesting and unique and like impending, and it feels like claustrophobic. It's great, but it's just too much of it. Again, if people want to see more of it, they will check it out. They'll go into it. And Matt says, so were these shipped games? Again, knowing if it's shipped is really helpful, because if you've worked on things that have shipped, that's way more relevant information than some fan trailer you did, or some student film, or whatever. Doing work that you had like a contract for, and you got paid for, and you did, and it shipped, like that's really, really good information to have. So that kind of thing would be right here too. Boom. Tell us that that's the case. So lots and lots of reels will be redesigned. Yes, so many. We've done like almost 30 reels on Real Talk, and a lot of them are redesigns. And that's fine, because you need to do something until you get a job, right? You have to. But the fact that if you have shipped titles, that's the distinction that we're talking about down here, right? If you're standing out and saying, yes, I've been in this long enough to have worked in it, that's great. How do you describe the shippedness? Well, you can say things like, tonight you die, parentheses, PC, Mac, Linux, or something. And then, or ship dates, yeah. But anything. There's a lot of ways you can do it. And then if people say, I mean, the thing is, you can even say like, game jam game or whatever. If there's simply evidence that you have passion for your work and you're involving yourself of your own volition and not because the school has forced you to have a portfolio to graduate or whatever it is, that's really good information to express in your reel. Huge. Okay, and finishing it out, we have like 210, it's done. Splat. And then, so like 215 is done, jeez. It's super long, 215. It's like 25, 35 seconds. Yeesh. And this, we have 10 seconds of bookend with no contact, we said already, that's fine. For something through the School of Game Audio with Leonard, would you describe it as a redesign? Redesigns are more restricted to like linear timelines. So if something like Mauricio Ruiz, where are you, Mauricio? Here it is. So with his reel, he did some trailer stuff, but he designed, oh my god, I forgot about this. This page is so zoomed in. His reel is like, he has the Trine stuff, he has Witcher, and he redesigned gameplay. So it's not like, come on now, come on, you can do it, play. Yes, thank you. So like this is not his shipped game, obviously. He redesigned gameplay as a linear timeline. If you are implementing things into a project, that's still like redesigning the project, but it's way more relevant and way more interesting. Or not even way more interesting, but it's just something else. It's the more things you can express you've worked on, whether it's just redesign or whether it is implementation. Even if it's just like some Unity tutorial you found online and you're using Fabric and putting sound into the thing, that's still really awesome because you're just showing more things you can do. So that's great. Yeah, Alfredo, that's totally fine. Totally. I mean, whether it's called a redesign or not is kind of semantics, but shipped versus not shipped is kind of the big one. Okay, so let's talk about material selection, shall we? So I guess there's like some short film stuff. Cool. There is some. This is what again? A website? Is it a website or is it what is this? Again, you gotta know. I guess it's a site. I'm gonna go with the site, and then game audio, music and game audio, music and game audio. So this is good. Also, yeah, so Matt says good to call out redesign implementation versus linear redesign, of course. And also, Taylor, if you do redesign things, or Alfredo Freak, if you redesign things, you got to say that too, of course. Like say this is a redesign. Otherwise, there are potential misunderstandings that can come to play there. Okay, so then website thing, game thing, and game thing. We got like a 4D thing here, like a 4D space something, and then we got a 2D-ish. I mean, it's basically 2D art and 3D-ish, kind of top-down-y kind of thing going on. We got some some first-person perspective stuff. That's cool too. As far as the kind of audio, so Matt beat me to the punch. He says a bit heavy on the creepy/heavy it feels. Lots of stuff I haven't seen, which is good. Yeah, so it's like I was saying, this thing is really cool. This little moment here, I was a bit worried I was gonna get jump scared, but here it is. That's cool. I mean, if your wheelhouse is creepy scary, then great. If you want to work on things that aren't creepy scary, then this is a problem. If you want to work on things like medieval magic spells and fantasy and sci-fi and kind of what you see is what you get style design where a thing happens and you hear the thing, then this is a problem because a lot of this is very, very stylized. This is more towards the side of not so crazy, but even the music and such is like ding, ding, ding. It's really crazy. And still monster roars and stuff, right? It's all very, very, very heavy, as Matt said. It's fresh content too, which is great because we see a lot of redesigned Blizzard reels and a lot of redesigned trailers that are always the same, like Assassin's Creed and others like that. So I do like that because I haven't seen any of this stuff. I haven't seen this or this or this or this or this. None of it. It's good news. So we talked about whether like implementations in here. I mean, did you implement sound in these, or did you just get like did you just do content creation and hand it off and say, here you go? Because if it's just content creation, then that's also something you should put in. Because if I watch this and I say, oh cool, this is a game in, doesn't say. So I have no idea if this is Unity, or if this is Unreal, or if you used Fmod, or if you used Wise, or if you just didn't use anything and said, here you go, here's the assets. So this is not telling me what you did. That's a problem, as we already laid out. But in terms of material selection, if you did implement sounds, then, oh, there you go. So if you did, then you got to tell us. Huge. Huge. It's a big one. And then we have content quality. So let's jump through that really fast here. I mean, it's not like really surreal and weird, so I don't want to tell you that things like could be better. But one thing that I heard the first time that was weird to me is the voice here starts centered and goes left. I didn't know why. I heard it the first time. You hear that? Like the perspective stayed the same, but the voice moved. And I don't know if that was just being unsettling or what, but that's something I noticed, so I thought I'd say so. And there it wasn't left. Is the stick? I don't even know. I'm not sure, Sean. It's freaking me out. Oh, okay. Got it, Taylor. Thank you. Yeah, it was cool. So I'm sure that Matt will call out the fact that this is kind of not clear if it's sound design or music. Like the sound design stuff is kind of music-y, and therefore it's hard to give a critique on the sound design. It's hard to tell where that line of separation is. But I love that. Da, da, da. That's like the number you've called cannot be connected, right? That's the tone. It's cool. I like it. It's creepy. I wanted to hear this. I didn't hear it, but that's fine. I didn't know what this was, also. What is this? Is that part of the previous thing? Is that part of this or this? I don't know. And this has kind of like that never-ending background drone thing going on. And I feel like it doesn't stop, and I can't really tell if that's what it sounds like in-game, or if it's just a background for this reel, or what's happening. Like this... It's a lot of drone. Like, it's a lot of visuals and a lot of droning. So I don't think it's really helping you that much. And, of course, I was saying squash everything down, make it a minute long total. And that could be cool. Like, here's some space droning stuff. It's pretty neat. But again, it kind of it's still in the same realm as, like, the deep drones here and the weird drones here and the surreal drones here. It's just a spacey thing now instead. You made 20 minutes of different drones. That's really cool. Do you have that information somewhere? Put that on your site. That's really neat. Next up. Again, it's a lot of music. I mean, I'm hearing mostly. Apart from that, like listening to the sound effects, they're there, but yeah, it's like the biggest sound you hear there is like, of course. So yeah, I don't know. And this one I said kill off the first 10 seconds because it's just walking. So I guess there you were showing that you're panning the, it's like a point source sound and you pan according to your perspective or something? Is that what you're showing? That's too long. You can start here easily, or start at the lamp or something. Yeah, we've heard that. We've seen that already. So yeah, you don't need to have all that at all. And like the quality of it, it's just footsteps and drone, man. Like it's not much to critique there, really. I like this a lot though. The as I said before, sounds great. It's cool. The ending is kind of weird, in my opinion. It's kind of weird. It feels like I just finished watching a Bourne film, and it's like, all right, credits now, or like some GoldenEye thing, you know? Or not GoldenEye, or the 007. And since, again, it's a sound design reel, that ending being exclusively music is kind of weird again. Like some reels we see, there'd be, like Joe Tom, for example, has his name, Joe Tom, and there's a sound, it breaks apart, and there's like sound design with it. That's really cool. But this is not relevant to sound design. It's also quite long. It's like 12 seconds of your name. It's too much. People can hit pause. They can do this and read it. They don't need to see your name there for 12 seconds. So when you make it a minute long only, have like 5 seconds of that with like a or something, and that's fine. You don't need to have all that music. So, Matt says, overall, it's a pretty heavy, oppressing reel, and that's not a bad thing because you're good at it. But that can be kind of hard to take. Making it shorter helps out a lot. Agreed, 100%. If that's the kind of thing you want to do a lot of, then great. That's really, really good because there are people that want that kind of work, and if you show that that's your wheelhouse and you kill it, then they'll hire you for sure. That's great. Distinction, it's a heavy, oppressive reel. I mean, it is by far the heaviest and most oppressive kind of reel that we've seen on Real Talk. So there you go. That tells you something. You're standing out in that regard. I do kind of want to specialize in weirder stuff. No interest in doing sports or realistic army shooters. Yeah, great. Then you're doing it right. Good for you. So I think we can end it right there for Taylor. Thank you very much, Taylor. We can move on to... oh, and by the way, if you do make your site eventually, feel free to resubmit, because we totally do V2s. Excuse me. If you cut your reel down to a minute and have it on a site with some information there and stuff, then for sure, feel free to hit us up again, and we'll do a second pass, yeah? Word.